There is no doubt at all that obviously as an agency nurse in the UK, you do get paid relatively higher than your average nurse employed permanently. Rates may vary. So I found myself negotiating my rate, how much I'm willing to take. Registering with nursing agency can be a nuisance. It can be annoying because some nursing agency are asking for the most. The worst that could happen in that case is most probably you're going to be banned from that specific hospital. As an agency nurse, listen carefully, as an agency nurse, you can be a band 6. When the agency nurse took me, they took me as a band 6 A&E nurse. So in order to join any nursing agency within the UK, you need at least 6 to 12 months UK experience.
Problem in all the feeling, make you try to enjoy. Make we dance like
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me once again back onto my channel. My name is Bellinda, and if you've not already subscribed, please don't forget to press the subscribe button as well as turn on your notification bell so that you get a notification every time I upload. So as you read from the title of this video, we are going to be discussing about agency nursing in the UK, just the basic things that you guys need to know when joining agency. So if you are new to my channel, guys, welcome. In one of my previous videos, guys, which I'm going to leave up here, I did mention that I have reduced my hours from 37.5 to 18-hour contract. So the reason for that was because I was doing agency on the side on top of my permanent part-time contract. However, as I got the hold of doing agency shifts and got my way around it and just relatively felt comfortable with doing agency shifts, I made the adequate decision to say, you know what, I'm out. I am out. So I have recently resigned from my permanent post to take on full-time agency work, and I'm currently working my notice. If you haven't seen my video about me sending in my resignation letter, I will once again leave it up here as well as down in the description box below. So if you are interested, you can go and have a look at that. Now, I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there for anybody who is wondering how to go about agency nursing. So basically, I am by no means on any sort of visa. I do have my British citizenship, hence I'm allowed to go and take agency on full time because there's nothing linking me to any sort of sponsorship visa. However, you are able to join agency as an international nurse. However, according to my knowledge, recently they have changed the laws and regulations, and they've restricted international nurses to work maximum hours on top of your contracted hours that you are able to work is 20 hours only. Okay, so whether you decide to take those 20 hours, pick up a bank shift, or you can register with an agency and work as an agency nurse. So going back to this specific video, guys, in this specific video we are going to be discussing a couple of things in relations to agency nursing. We are going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of joining agency. We're going to talk about the rates of agency nurses. We are going to talk about speciality as an agency nurse, the experience required in order to join agency. I'm also going to be briefly touching on PAYE, umbrella, as well as limited, because when you do join agency nursing, you are going to come across these three terminologies, which is very important for you just to know what is what, so you can make the adequate decision as to which one you are going to take. And lastly, I'm just going to give you guys a bit of tips and advice as well as contributing factors in order to be successful when joining agency from my own personal experience. So those are all the pointers that I'm going to be discussing in this specific video, guys. So if you are interested, then please keep on watching. Now, first things first, guys, briefly touching on what agency nurse is. So an agency nurse, guys, can be classified as a travel nurse. So basically you are self-employed, you are going to different hospitals, private settings, care homes, any sort of care facility that requires your service. Okay, however, you're on a 0-hour contract. So that's just basically agency nursing. Next one I'm going to discuss is obviously the advantages of joining agency. So obviously there is no doubt that as agency nurse you are going to be paid relatively more, 2 times more, 3 times more sometimes 4 times more than your average permanent nurse. Okay, in addition to that, you are flexible as to when you want to work. So basically, because you are on a 0-hour contract, you are self-employed, you work as and when you want to or need to. So instead of being put on a roster to say that you have to work Monday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, you get to make that adequate decision to say, hang on a minute, I don't work on Saturday, Sunday. I know of people who have joined agency nursing and they don't work Mondays. Nobody wants to work on a Monday because Monday is all the hustle of the weekend that didn't get sorted out. So you are really in charge of working around your responsibilities that you have. You can decide when you want to work day shift, you can decide when you want to work night shift. You know, the ball is basically in your court when it comes to agency nursing. In addition to that, you get to decide which hospital you want to work in. So if you are placed in any sort of hospital or care sector that the agency may have assigned you to, and you deem it as an unsafe place to work and you feel like you are risking your pin, you can pack your bags and leave, and the only people that will question your decision will be the agency that assigned you on that assignment. The worst that could happen in that case is most probably you're going to be banned from that specific hospital because you decided to leave. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because you are an agency nurse, you can literally go to any other place that your agency can assign you to. Whereas if you were a permanent staff, you are unable to walk out. Well, you can walk out, nobody's going to hold you back, okay? However, there is more repercussions to you being a permanent staff in comparisons to obviously being an agency, if that makes any sense. One thing that I love about agency nursing, guys, which at this point I'm just taking it all in, okay, is the fact that I do not get involved in any sort of work politics. Anything related to work politics, I'm not there. So what I mean by this is when you come into handover, for example, before allocating you, they will normally discuss about the performance of the department, how they can better the department. All of that, guys, is all good and well, okay? However, it's got nothing to do with me. So I'm really loving it in regards to when I come in, just allocate me which patients I need to go to, and I'm going to be there for the next 12 hours. Everything happening around me is just empty noise. I'm in, doing my job, get my timesheet signed, and I'm out. So another advantage is it is less stressful. Now I'm going to expand on that. If you're an agency nurse, you are going to obviously have your own set of stress. However, the set of stress that you're facing as an agency nurse may be a bit different or a bit less than if you're a permanent staff member. What I mean by this is that you do not have any sort of pressure from management above. Obviously, the only thing that you're going to be stressed about is obviously the responsibility that you have towards your patients and obviously the workload. However, your stress is limited in my personal opinion and experience. In addition to this, guys, one of the advantages about agency nursing, once again, is the ability to negotiate your hourly rates. Okay, now this is something that I only found out. Okay, so I just want to say thanks to one of my colleagues. So Gerald, if you're watching, thank you. So basically he told me, Belinda, you know what you bring to the table, negotiate your rates. Okay, so sometimes we are so fearful to say, oh, we need the nursing agency, but without nurses, the nursing agency will not be able to function. Facts, okay? You can't negotiate your salary if you are going for a permanent post within the NHS. However, as an agency nurse, you do have the ability to negotiate your salary, okay? Standard. Now, obviously, with agency comes these advantages and disadvantages. One of the disadvantages, in my opinion, is basically that you are held more accountable in comparisons to a permanent staff. So if you do happen to make a minor mistake, nothing drastic, okay, nothing that's going to be like affecting your patients. However, any sort of minor mistake, guys, will be exaggerated to the highest degree. So obviously, if you are a contracted permanent nurse, you are more likely to be protected by your employer. Whereas if you are an agency nurse, you are more likely to be thrown under the bus. That is facts. They will hang you. Hence, it's very important to really have your guards up, really know what's happening around you. We're still going to get into that, guys. I don't really want to be giving tips and advice because this is not a tip and advice video, okay? Please do comment down below if you guys want to see a tip and advice video in regards to safe practice as an agency nurse, okay, because I can give you guys a bit of tips. Now the next point, guys, it's a disadvantage to some, however I don't look at it as a disadvantage, and I'm going to elaborate on this, okay. So I've heard many people to say, oh, this is a dry period, I don't have any shifts, etc, etc, etc. Now for some people that may be a disadvantage because they're looking at consistency. That's the term, consistency. Will I have enough shifts to keep me going for the next couple of weeks or even for the month? Now I'm going to tell you guys what I did in aspects to this. So you are more likely to experience this if you are only registered with one agency. Never, never, never register with one agency, only if you are looking for that consistent shift. Now, as crazy as it may sound, especially if you register with multiple agencies, you're going to get assignment here, assignment over there. It's going to be crazy. So you have to pace yourself out. For me personally, I am registered at this point in time with 3 agencies. So basically summarizing, the more nursing agencies you are registered with, the more likely you are going to get more frequent and regular shifts. Another disadvantage is obviously as an agency nurse, no work, no pay. When you are joining agency, you need to take that into account. So if you are looking at taking any sort of annual leave or holiday, you won't get paid for that. If you are sick, you will not get any sick leave, okay? Now, the last disadvantage that I'm going to talk about, guys, is that you as an agency nurse are most likely to get the most difficult patients. Now, I've got my own fair experience in regards to this. Up to this point, I'm still trying to figure out whether I was being set up or not. And obviously, the main reason they do that is because they have some sort of an idea how much you're getting paid. Okay, so in their heads, some of them really being spiteful, they'll be like, okay, well, she gets paid more than me, so let her do the work. Okay, so that's one of the disadvantages, like, of being an agency nurse. Now, those are the pros and cons. Next, guys, I'm going to talk about experience required. With joining agency, guys, you are going to need either 6 to 12 months nursing experience, okay? It varies. Some agencies are happy to take you with 6 months nursing experience. Some require you to have 12 months nursing experience. Now, what you need to remember is if you are an international nurse coming into the UK, the agency requires you to have at least 6 months UK experience. So it doesn't matter whether you're coming from your home country and you've got 20 years, 15 years, 10 years nursing experience, they don't care. They want you to have UK experience. So you need to take that into account. So for me, example, I qualified last year, September. I didn't start working until the December period. But as soon as it hit 6 months, so around June this year, that's when I started registering with agency because I could have my 6 months experience. Now, I did try to register with one agency specific, which was Thornbury Nursing Agency. However, they required me to have 1 year experience, so I was not eligible to register with them at that point in time because I've only recently hit 1 year. Next, guys, I'm going to talk about speciality. So there is no doubt that if you are a specialized nurse or you work in a specialized area, you are more likely to get paid more. For example, I am an A&E nurse, so I would get paid more than if I had to go onto the ward. Now, for example, with me, the time I was still permanently employed, I did mention in my other video that I tried to get as much training in as possible, mainly because I thought at that point in time, the more training I have, the more certificates I have, the more skills I have, the more higher they will band me. And it's true, okay? Now, don't ever think that you cannot be a band 6 if you are working with agency nurse, okay? When the agency nurse took me, they took me as a band 6 A&E nurse. So at the beginning I was like, hang on a minute, what are you trying to tell me? Does that mean that I have to take on band 6 responsibility when I get to where I get to? That was my debate, and the agents were like, no, don't worry about it, da, 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 da. So when I got there for my very first shift, my heart was like, because you know, the thing is, once you've got your triage training, so for those who are not familiar with triage training, it's more like an A&E thing or a GP practice thing where as soon as a patient comes from the ambulances, you are the first point of entry where you're going to do your first set of obs. You're going to take the patient's past medical history. You're going to document as to why they are there, what happened, etc, etc, etc. So you are the first nurse that they will encounter. That's basically triaging. You're booking the patient in onto the system. So because I told the agency I've got my triage training, they're gonna put me as triaging. So the agency was like, so would you like to triage as an agency? And I'm like, no. The reason I said no for that is because every single hospital you go to has its own system and they run things differently. So I was really like, I'm not going to risk it. 1 minute I'm charging in Birmingham, 1 minute I'm charging in Newcastle, next I'm charging in Liverpool, I'm charging triaging. I'm not going to do that because I need to acquaint myself with the system. Now, another thing that I do want to say, guys, is if you are a cardiology nurse and you work on a cardiology ward and you don't have experience with any other than cardiology, if you are going to be joining agency, guys, please tell them you want to go on a cardiology ward. Example with me, I can't go to a gastro surgical ward because I will need to know how to do an NG tube. Now, I do not have that set of skills to do that. So if you are a nurse and you are going to be picking up any sort of shifts, pick up shifts in area that you are familiar with. So when it comes to speciality, guys, know your niche, know your set of skills. Do not accept any sort of shifts that you are not familiar with, because let me tell you something, you are risking yourself, you are risking your patient, you are risking your NMC pin. Okay, so let's remember that. Now, moving on to hourly rate, guys. Depending on what agency you join, there's loads of agencies, okay? Some people say certain agencies pay higher than certain agencies, which may be the case. However, like I said to you guys before, negotiate your salary. So rates may vary according to various factors such as the trust you are going to, the department you're working in. It varies from day shift to night shifts. If you're working night shifts, you are relatively going to get paid on the higher rate. Same applies to weekends. You are going to be paid more, whether you are a specialty nurse, okay? What set of skills you bring to the table. So if I had to say, for instance, take on the responsibility of triaging with my agency, I would pay relatively more, okay, than if they had to assign me my own caseload, if that makes any sense. So next, guys, I'm going to talk to you guys about PAYE, limited company or umbrella company. When you are joining any sort of agency nursing in the UK, you're going to come across these three terminologies. And it's very important to familiarize yourself with these terminologies, because that is going to see whether you're going to get like the most out of your money. So the agency will normally send you a list of umbrella companies. Most agency guys would prefer you to use PAYE, but why should I use something that's not going to be beneficial to me? Do you know what I mean? So I am with an umbrella company. The reason I chose an umbrella company is the time when the agency that I contacted were offering obviously the rates. Umbrella company happened to earn more an hour than PAYE. I don't know why, I don't know how, but this is the case. So umbrella company is a company that will be calculating your taxes and they will be sending it to HMRC. Now, with the umbrella company, there is a small fee. It may vary that you have to pay every week unless you're not working that week. It's not a drastic amount. For instance, with me, I'm paying £15 a week to my umbrella company for calculating my taxes, okay? Now, PAYE, pay as you earn, okay? Your employee will pay your taxes straight away and they will be sending it to HMRC. All right? Now, there is also an option of limited company. Now, limited company is your own personal company that you would have opened. Now, the advantage of this is that you take everything home with you. So whatever money you make, the only thing that will be deducted is obviously your NI, but most of it you are going to be taking home. The disadvantage to this is that you're going to need to be disciplined enough to save your money, because the tax man is looking for his money at the end of the year. So basically, if you are with limited company, your take-home pay will be higher at that point in time. However, you need to be able to set money aside, because at the end of the year, you will be paying taxes and you need an accountant, a very good accountant, which you're going to pay them as well to calculate your taxes. Now, for me, I don't want that kind of stress, like to think that, oh gosh, I haven't paid my tax this month. Come end of this year, I need to know how I'm going to pay my taxes. No. So that is why with me, I took umbrella company over limited company. Some people would say limited company is better because you don't pay as much taxes as if you would be with your umbrella company or PAYE. I don't know yet. I'm yet to still figure it out how I'm gonna go about it, because I'm just relatively new to this whole agency. So guys, this brings me to the end of my video. If there's any other videos you would like me to do in relations to agency nursing, please do comment that down below. In my next video guys, I've got a couple of vlogs coming out for you guys in regards to my travel agency assignment. There's a couple of places that I am going to go to, so I'm gonna try and vlog because it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited for it as well. So guys, this brings me to the end of my video. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video. Bye.